Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Gumball here. And I'm gonna be talking about something that's kind of an issue right now in regards to the Players Cup with the Pokemon TCG online series. So, if you do or don't know, I qualified for North America. I qualified to play in Players Cup too, meaning that within the given time, with a set amount of tournament keys letting me enter individual tournaments, I played, and out of those tournaments, you get a score, right? Well, in each region, the U.S. being one of them, uh, 256 of the top players would qualify for an invitation for a larger event, right? So I did qualify, and there's a lot of other people qualified because 256 from each region. That's like I think 128 in Oceania, but that's in total about 1,000 people. About. I don't feel like actually counting it out. Let's do 56 times 3, so that's like 768 plus 128 for Australia and all that, and New Zealand. Anyway, so the number one, I believe the number one in the world, but at least the number one player in the U.S., Tristan Lackey, was disqualified from the Players' Cup because he was using a parent account to play. It goes more or less that he didn't remember the login for the account linked to his player ID, so he was using his dad's account from, I believe, 2008. He said, uh, so he was playing with his dad's account, and he qualified. But when it told him that whenever he was trying to register for the event, he wasn't allowed to, and when he submitted a ticket, he explained that it was his dad's parent account. Well, him saying that completely disqualified him from the event because that would be account sharing. And if you don't know, I have a very similar situation. The account that I use for PTCGO is a parent account that my mom made for me in 2010 so I could use the Pokemon. No, it's 2011. 2011. So I could use the Pokemon Black and White Dream World. And if you don't know what that was, it was basically like the only way you could get the hidden ability Pokemon at the time. You played mini games on the Pokemon website, and you could get Pokemon with hidden abilities, and some of them really broken in the black and white meta. Anyway, that's not important. What is important is that because I'm technically using somebody else's account, that is account sharing, and that disqualifies me from the Players' Cup as well. I have not submitted a ticket about this because I wasn't planning to play. Because, again, if you don't know, I hate Standard. There's a lot of things that you may not know. But the point is, I don't like Standard already, so I really wasn't wanting to play. But being in the same situation as the number one seed in the US, and I'm pretty sure the world, yeah, I couldn't play if I wanted to. And the reason that's an issue is because Pokemon here, I can read the twit longer, actually. I have it loaded right here. So, it reads, the time I started writing this is 4:34 p.m. on Wednesday, November 4th, 2020. At 3:59 p.m., roughly 30 minutes earlier, I was informed that I would not be allowed to play in the Players' Cup after qualifying as rank 1 in the world. So he was ranked 1 in the world. Let's start from the beginning. It's August of 2008, and then the then 11-year-old me participated in my first tournament ever, a Legends Awakened pre-release. Naturally, as I was new, I received a pop ID and promptly lost it, so that when I went to my next event, I was issued a new one along with my dad who drove me, my sister, and her then boyfriend who also participated. The pop ID I was issued at this Battle Roads was the one I would proceed to use for the rest of my time playing the game up to this point, with me being 439539, my dad being 43954 though. In 2008, there weren't many online resources. There was PokeBeach and PokeGym. And as far as the way to play the game on the internet, I'm paraphrasing here. The only option I was aware of it was a program called Red Shark. I do vaguely remember Red Shark after searching for an alternative to PTCGO after I lost my account in 2015. So, yeah. That eventually changed in March of 2011 when the Pokemon trading card game online was released to the public, in addition of game code cards being added to packs coming after. At this point, I was 13, but still loved playing the game, so naturally my dad made an account, so this would allow me to play with while he was at work, or for him to play when I was doing school, sports, whatever. And thus we made the account Reggie Lee. So this is where he starts saying that Reggie Lee, which was the account that had, I believe, 153 tournament rep, being placed number 1 in the world, is his dad's account. Started building a collection playing. Due to the nature of the way PTCGO was structured, and how it was freshly released, meaning there's no easy way to get code cards like there is today, we decided it was smartest to just run one account and share it between the two of us. Because it was so hard to get one account going, let alone two, it just made sense. And we are most definitely not the first nor the last people to share an account. And yes, that is true. What I don't get about the Pokemon company being very strict about account sharing is that this is a very, very common situation. Whether it be parents with their kids, kids with their siblings, or just like people that anyone else that may like anyone in a family that cannot get more than one account going. And the reason I know that about this is because like I have let people borrow my account in the past. And it's just people know how hard it is to get stuff online. It is very hard. Take it from the guy that is free to play with over 10 beaches worth of value on his account. It is fucking hard to grind for cards. You have to, like, it's so hard to know what you're doing. And so hard to make profit. Like, being free to play is so horrible. And especially back then when you couldn't just buy codes and you had to trade for everything or pull stuff out of packs. Yeah, of course. Like, account sharing is very common. And I know multiple people that did this for the Players' Cup 1. I don't know about Players' Cup 2, but I'm going to make it a wild assumption that they did do it for Players' Cup 2. So, yeah. My next paragraph starts, and I guess at its core, this is where it all started. When he made the account, he naturally did with the account that's associated with his information. Yes. This is exactly what happened to me with my mom. And whenever she made her parent account for me. So, her being the parent account and me having a child account, I couldn't do anything with PTCGO. And I didn't have codes. So, whenever I did get codes, I just started using my mom's parent account because I was able to actually trade. And I was able to talk to people so I could work out trades. So, I'll just keep reading. And as he admittedly played PTCGO way more than I did at the time. He was also just a tech-savvy adult, so I didn't think twice about not using my account information to create it. That was another thing with me, is that I was only, I think, 12 when I started playing PTCGO. No, I was 11. I didn't even turn 12 yet. Yeah, I was 11. Since then, starting with when I just started high school, he started playing less and less, until eventually in 2018 when he hung it up for good, which is more or less has you caught up to this rather brief timeline of mine and my dad's involvement in the game. So if you haven't caught on yet, the reason I've been barred from playing in the Players' Cup is because of account sharing. I will firstly say that it is in fact in the rules for this event. That's not why I'm frustrated in writing this. I did technically break the rule about having an account linked to my personal ID, player ID. Reggie Lee is 100% linked to my dad's ID, and it never crossed my mind that this would be an issue. I respect the decision, but it doesn't make it sting any less. The reason I'm so frustrated is that I cannot access the account connected to my ID at all. This right here, I had to make my own player ID a couple years ago because I could not access my account and I was not getting championship points for all the tournaments I was attending and while in seniors, winning. As a senior, I won. I was only, let's see. mathematically, I was only 30 points away from my Worlds invite, but I hadn't even been in the running for it because my player ID wasn't functional, and I had no access to it. I had no access to the information with it, linked to it, I mean. So, even and of course, I'm not the only person that's had to do this. Tristan Lackey isn't the only person that's had to do this. The reason that I connect so much with the story is because this is very, very similar to what I've gone through with Pokemon. I'll keep reading though, because there's a lot more to read. Currently, I don't have anything about the login information I used when I made that account, so I do not have access to the account linked to my Pop ID. The account was linked to my dad's as a child account, but somewhere along the line it seems that's no longer the case, as my recent attempts at looking around have borne no fruit. Even to this day, I do not get emails from Pokemon about any prize money I may have earned. Most recently was my Dallas 2020 where I placed 21st. Or things like my World's invite. Anything related to my accomplishments goes directly to my dad, which he then forwards to me. So that's my first issue. How am I supposed to play on an account linked to my ID when I cannot access it at all, nor get any information about it? Pokemon support is notoriously useless. I did once attempt to get my login details, but very little came out of it, and I still don't have access to my own personal account. And I'm aware of other people having similar issues related to their e-wallet accounts where Pokemon deposits any tournament winnings. Yes, Pokemon support is notoriously useless. It is such a big issue that the Pokemon support does not help at all. So, this is something else that has happened to me. Well, a slightly different version of it. So, luckily, all of my my only tournament placements where I've gotten money, which was top 16 at Denver 2019 and top 16 at Collinsville 2020. Both of those were with my current trainer ID. So, I did get my prize money, and I'm lucky that I was able to fix it before it became an issue. However, going back to Pokemon support being really useless, when I said I quit playing PTCGO, so I was just exclusively an IRL player from 2015 to 2018. 3 years. The reason why is because in 2015, which was, I believe that was when I first created my current player ID. I don't remember. It's been a while. 5 years ago. Not sure. Either way. I tried to transfer all my entire card pool over from my mom's parent account to the account linked to my, at the time, player ID. I don't remember if it's the player ID I still use or not, but I don't think it was. Anyway. For whatever fucking reason, the support email, or the recovery email, that's what it's called. The recovery email to my account had gotten changed to an email that nobody used. It was definitely, I believe it was an email that my sister was running at the time. She didn't use the computer that we used at all. Like, she never did. She did not have access to any of the information with my Pokemon account. She did not have access to any of the information regarding my email. So, why or how my recovery email for my account got changed, I don't know. But because it got changed, and there was no confirmation with that email, because my sister didn't, play Pokemon, there was no reason she should be getting the email, of course she's gonna ignore it. Because there was no confirmation within 24 hours, Pokemon disabled my account. And I was not able to log into PTCGO with my account information at all. And I think that was the point where my player ID had stopped working. Yeah, so it was my old player ID. It was at this point where my player ID stopped working. So, all of my Shaymins, all of my Secret Versus Seekers, all of my Full Art supporters, all my stuff that I had for Primal Groudon and Mega Rayquaza, which were two good and very, very expensive decks, especially with max rarity. It wasn't completely max rarity, like I didn't have Plasma Freeze Ultra Balls, but I still had, like, Shaymins and Versus Seekers in 2015. hundreds of packs worth of value from codes that I've gotten, codes that I traded for, codes that I, like, bought from friends. All of that disappeared. And I was no longer able to access my account. I wasn't able to get any of my tournament winnings, not that I got any. And I was not able to get championship points with that player ID anymore. So, I had no other choice but to use my mom's parent account for playing PTCGO, but because I transferred my entire card pool over, I had almost nothing left. And then when I came back to the PTCGO in 2018, I had accumulated more codes at the time, but I still couldn't access the account linked to my player ID, so I still had to use my mother's parent account. So that's the reason I use my mom's parent account still, is because I don't want to transfer my entire card pool to a different account and then just get disabled again, especially with the amount of pure sheer value that I have on my account. I'm not going to risk it. You could argue that I could just transfer a deck over, and that's certainly a possibility. That's something I thought about, but I felt like it wasn't going to be a problem if I actually decided to play. Turns out I was wrong anyway, but let's continue. My second issue, account sharing suddenly being a problem. Account sharing is definitely an issue in a multitude of other games, but it's never been a problem with PTCGO because until recently with Players Cup, there's never an incentive to share an account aside from ease of building decks. There is no ranked competitive ladder. There has never been anything at stake before when playing online until the Players Cup, which again, I get that making that a rule for the current Players Cup, and I even agree with that. If there's someone doing it with malicious intent, I 100% agree with DQing them. And yeah, that's true. I mean, account sharing, it's other than ease of building decks, it's not an issue. There is no ranked competitive ladder. There should be, but there's not. And not just account sharing, but having alternative accounts is just suddenly becoming a huge issue with PTCGO. I don't know why. Like, I suppose they want to crack down on the amount of scammers posting trades. Because if they ban one alt, then they just have all these other accounts. I can understand that, I suppose, but account sharing, like, I don't know why they care. Why do they care about that, but they don't care about the actual game? Why is the game still janky? Why is it still basically a Flash engine? And why is it still extremely buggy? Why does it still not function like a multi-billion-dollar corporation game should? That's not what this is about, though. But it's a major issue I have with why they care so much. Especially when the trading system is so broken and the online store is just not really a good way to get cards. This leads me to my third issue. They would have never known about this if I didn't reach out to them first and came clean about looking for a solution to the fact that the account is linked to my dad's ID, but not mine. Yeah. If he had just registered with his dad's player ID, he probably would have been able to play, which is very, very unfortunate. Bullshit. It's so bullshit. I feel really bad for him. On October 16th, I locked up rank 1, and a few days after it occurred to me that this could be an issue. I didn't immediately pursue it, as I wasn't sure how the registration process would go. But when Arcanine sent out emails, and I found out I was unable to register as Tristan Lackey, I immediately filed a support ticket, as shown here. I don't feel like clicking on it. I don't think I need to. You can imagine what he goes over it in this right here. That he comes clean about it, looking for a solution. And he follows it by saying the conversation that followed wasn't an actual conversation. It was mostly just what I can assume was an automated bot message. And whenever I was trying to recover my account that I lost in 2015 with all my stuff on it, I submitted several tickets, and none of them, not a single one, was responded by an actual person. Every single message was a bot email. There was nothing I could have done about it. And there's nothing Tristan can do either, because when you're talking about bots, there's nothing you can do. You can't argue with a bot. So until you're getting actual human interaction with your support tickets, nothing at all is going to be solved. That's not just an issue with Pokemon either. That's just an issue with like support tickets in general. Twitch, YouTube, fucking pretty much anything. It's just going to give you an automated bot message, which is horrible. These 2 emails came shortly after, but because of the circumstances, I didn't get around to checking my email again until the 31st, where I realized I was unable to see the ticket as I hadn't logged into an account, making it in my panic. I then sent this and received this response on the 2nd. With that response in mind, I made sure to log in to the account associated with Reggie Lee and made another ticket, which as of writing this has still not been responded to. Seeing as I had no response at noon on November 3rd, which was the deadline to register through RK9, I registered under my dad's name and Pop ID and immediately filed a ticket with them in an attempt to explain the situation to see if there was some way we could get things fixed on their end. This is the response I received. I will click on this one though, because I do want to read this. I do find it very relevant. So, I'm not going to worry about what he emailed. We already get the gist of it, that he was emailing, trying to find a solution. Here's what Arcanine Labs support said. Sorry it took a bit long to reply. I needed to check with the Pokemon customer support to see what can be done with your issue. Unfortunately, you will not be allowed to participate in the Pokemon Players Cup 2. As stated in the official rules, you will need to have a valid player ID through a Play Pokemon account at the time of entry, and have that player ID attached to your TCGO account. Account sharing is not allowed. Since the PTCGO account that you used to qualify is not your account, you are not allowed to participate in the Players Cup 2 with it, and your registration has been removed. I understand that this is a disappointing answer and not what you were hoping for. Sorry, I need to exit out of this tab. But yeah, that's about the sum of it. So, long story short, he got disqualified for account sharing even though he doesn't have access to any of the information to log into his own account. And there's nothing he can do about that, which is very unfortunate. And that being said, the same precedent goes for me. I am not allowed to play in the Players Cup 2. But I don't think that's that bad of a thing, because Standard is a format I really don't enjoy right now. Like, I really don't enjoy Standard. Standard fucking sucks, bro. Standard sucks. But the reason I have this Luke Metal list pulled up is that if I was playing in Players Cup 2, this is the 60 I would be running. I think it's a really good 60. I mean, people shit on Stamp and Luke Metal. I like it as a one of. I actually like 2 Stamp, but it's not necessary. Anyway, I just think it's a really clean list. Like, it's a Luke Metal list. It's more consistent than a lot of the lists I've seen. Like, you have a solid Baby Blounds matchup. Because you're running the double swell, the Stamp, and the Wheat Guards. Like, they have to go through 2 Luke Metal most games. Anyway, that's not really the important part here. The important part is that, you know, Players Cup 2, the way it's being run is a huge issue. Because there's a lot of people that don't have access to their accounts, and when trying to gain access, there is no help being performed. So, yeah, there's absolutely nothing that me or Tristan Lackey can do. Well, I was gonna upload something different today, but I don't really have anything to. By the time I'm posting this, I will be live at twitch.tv/gumballgb, link in the description. I will be streaming the Limitless Weekly. I don't remember what number it is. I just started playing in online tournaments again. And this one's expanded, so if you want to see some Supreme Roxy gameplay, go check me out on Twitch right now. Link in the description. I promise you, I will be live. And, yeah, that's it. See ya.